Wow, it's fast. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Hope you guys are having a good Sunday evening. Happy New Year, everyone. And yeah, let's go ahead and kick off the new year with painting not MCP. I know we've been painting lots and lots of MCP on this stream, and it's been hard for the last couple of weeks to get this stream going uh, because of holiday and had a crazy work schedule leading into the holidays. So um, I am just gonna hop into my chat here. So if anyone does want to go ahead and hop in my on-air chat, I will be in the Discord, and I'm gonna stream. I'm gonna turn on my camera here. We don't know. We don't want snow giving backgrounds or anything like that. So, so tonight we're in the middle of a batch paint. Okay, we're gonna paint this freeze crew. There are a lot of models to this crew, but the good news is the scheme, the color scheme, is not all that complicated. Okay, and that's kind of the good thing. We're going to take advantage of that. So there are 8 models that we're going to be working on tonight. We're not going to finish any of the models, I don't think, but we're just going to work on really blues. Okay, and we're going to work specifically on desaturated blues. So we've got this model here with the power fist. I'm just going to call it a power fist because 40K people. I'm just going to call 40K here. We got this model here. He's got we'll call this a heavy plasma or an ice cannon, ice plasma type gun. And then we've got 2 triplicate models. Okay, so there are 3 times 3 of these models. We've got double bolter girl. I'm talking trash. Double las gun girl, and then we got power ice sword boy. Okay, ice sword boy, ice sword boy. This guy. So we're just gonna be working on blues tonight. Okay, I don't know that we're gonna have time to make it into any of the other colors. You can see, well, for the most part, you can see their skin and face stuff is in. Um, you know, not much to do there. Not much at all on the female faces that don't have, right? You can't really paint those eyes, but I may go in and paint the lips. Actually, why don't we do that before we get into the blues? Let's paint the lips on these three ladies here. 3 bolt gun ladies here. Quick touch up there. All right. So we're using our trusty entrail pink to do this, right? To paint in some lips. I may come back in and do a little bit of detail on the face, but there's really not much to do on these faces, right? The main thing was getting the skin in and getting it nice and desaturated. All right, which is something we were able to do. Okay, and then one more. On this one, hold on, I also want to do a little bit of repair on this one. Okay, because you can see there's a giant bit of flash there. And this is the type of material, the night model resin is very rubbery. So I'm gonna just shave. I'm gonna take my blade and shave off bits of it. See if I can at least get enough of it off to where it's not painful to look at. That's all I'm going for, right? Just not painful to look at. That's not bad. But you can see it's kind of rubbery. It doesn't shave off and just fall off the way you know, a lot of other more brittle resin would. Okay. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started on the blues. Okay, and very simple. There's really only a couple things to note here on the blues. You've got soft blue, the cloth, the of the jacket, and then you've got hard point blue. So soft point blue and hard point blue. Hard point blue being the armor bits, and the weapons are kind of armor hard point blue. And the way this scheme works is hard point blue is really ice, made icicle, ice baby, and the soft blue kind of has a very light greenish glow to it. So we're gonna do a couple things here. For the soft point blue, I'm going to take some, I think, Surf Aqua. Thinking about using that. Let me see what else, if I have another color that I think might work. This will be a little riskier if I were to go with like this marine teal, but I like it a lot. It's a really nice color. So I think what I'm going to do actually is we're going to make a glaze out of this marine teal and just come in real light on this. Okay, and that'll be for jackets, soft point stuff. Okay, and then for hard point stuff, I think we want to go in with this pastel green, which is almost like a verdigris, right? And it's going to give it a more of an icy look to it. All right, so first, let's go ahead and go with some marine teal, and I'm going to mix that in into a glaze using this glaze medium. Okay. So if you have any questions, comments, or threats, let me know. Otherwise, we're just going to paint and ramble and do the things that we normally do on this stream. Okay. So 3 drops of glaze, 3 drops of marine teal, and we're gonna build this up super slow. Okay, it's gonna be real thin going down. It's what we want. Okay, so okay, so actually not getting enough color on that. I'm gonna have to add more to that glaze medium. To get it the right, because you want to get it that color at least somewhat saturated on there, right? So you can see it coming in now. All right, we're going to go about, I want to go about probably 80 to 90% of the cloth area with this glaze. And just let the glaze do what it does. Right? You can already see, I'm wondering if maybe we even just skip the glaze and make it a full opaque coat. Might do that. Because I feel like the glaze, I think, is a little too thin. And I actually want a little bit more opaque look than that. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to skip the glaze. We're just going to make an opaque layer of it. And this time, instead of glaze medium, just a drop of water, really, just to help it flow. Ooh, that was more than a drop, but it's okay. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or threats. It's actually quite nice. Let's go ahead and go with her sister here. Right. Yeah, this color is quite nice. And it's still, even not as a glaze, you can see it's still properly thinned. It's doing a good job of letting that blue through, letting the star blue come through from the undercoat. Star blue being a fantastic color. Really nice. Okay. Right. And I didn't want to start this teal as the base color because that would leave me in a totally different space than what I actually wanted. Right. This is actually kind of nice where it's leaving me. I'm just going over the glaze so that it looks a little flatter. Right. So we don't want to do the glaze. We want to just. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna blend up this color. Right, I don't want them to look like surgeons. I don't want this to be like a surgeon blue. But I do want to kind of get some of that green showing. Right? So again, about 80 to 90% of the model. The goal here being really differentiating the jacket. The soft point jackets as opposed to the hard point armor and weapons. Okay, so that's the three gun ladies. Let's get the guys with the ice swords. So, not going to be the most exciting night for watching me paint because we are doing a batch paint. But if anyone has questions about how I set up batch paints, because I understand it's boring stuff to watch, it really is. But back in the day, I used to get a lot of questions about batch painting because, you know, everyone loves to watch like the super nice, like expert guy, and I'm not saying I'm definitely very far from an expert painter, but like the expert painter guy, like work on one model from beginning to end and really do all the amazing techniques and really give it a great paint job. But most of us do this. Most of us do this batch painting. Hey there, doing the same thing, painting my hate minis. Nice. How's it going, DJ Ghostman? Happy New Year to you. When you say hate minis, are you talking about the Simon game? Hate, or is there something Is that like, are you referring to a particular batch of minis that you're going to batch paint? All right, so you can see this first layer is going to go down pretty quick, right? Once we got, because we have that star blue undercoat, first layer is going to go pretty quick. Okay, cool. Cool. So yeah, this the Simon board game, it sounds like that's what you're painting. Very cool. Okay. No, it's the core set of miniatures from the heat. Yeah, that's cool. When you're doing like core sets, it's always, I always find that to be kind of the most dreaded part. But if it's like a board game with like a lot of expansions or extra factions, that sort of thing, I always feel this like sigh of relief after the core set's done, right? Because you're like, okay, so everything from here is really just going to be add-on stuff that I voluntarily want to add to my game. So that's how I always felt, right? It's like, you know, for example, if you're painting like the core set of, I don't know, Rising Sun or Mythic Battles Pantheon or something like that, you're like, okay, once I get the core set done, the rest of this isn't too bad. Even like in the case of Mythic Battles Pantheon, where it's more, right? Where the core set is not as many minis as the Pandora's box expansion, which is a lot more minis. But even in that case, I was like, oh, at least I got the core set done, right? So worst comes to worst, you could still break out the game and play that. The Batman board game from what is that, Monolith? Same deal, right? The Batman board game season 1 painted all that core set, and you're like, okay, good. The rest of this is just Kickstarter extras and that sort of thing. All right, so first layer, if that's down, we're going to alternate going from hard point to soft point, right? Remember group colors on certain monsters and keeping things more similar. Cool. Yeah. For the hard point, we'll use the Surf Aqua for that as a base coat. Right. And same general idea here. 80 to 90%. And the good news about the hardpoint is the hardpoint stuff is we'll be able to sort of hardline highlight it as we go. You'll see. We're gonna shade it and highlight it just like any other painting up armor here. So it's not gonna look great this first coat, right? But you'll see where we're going as we start to work on this. Right now we're just getting the core colors down. Then we'll start to detail it all up and I'll start to differentiate different things here. Turning 64 today, January 3rd, and more of a D&D Dungeon Master. Okay. Well, happy birthday in advance. Happy birthday tomorrow. That's cool. 64, sir. That is very admirable. You're more of a... You do your own terrain and paint 95% of your minis. Okay. It's always encouraging to see, like, DMs that get into the hobby side of D&D, and they, right, then they build all their sets, and they paint their minis. Right? I'm sure that it really does enhance the experience of your players. Right? To see all that, to be able to visualize what's going on, to see the, if they're, as they get attached to their characters, to see their characters kind of spring to life through painting. As a commission painter, D&D commissions are some of the most fun projects I can take on. There's a bit more pressure involved too, though, because you should put some pressure on yourself if you're commission painting for D&D, because this is you're painting player characters, right? You're painting these characters that somebody has vividly in their mind, right? You binge on my stuff. Oh wow. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for being subbed. These streams are, I don't get a lot of people in the chat, which is, I guess, kind of a mixed bag. Obviously it's good to have conversation in the chat, but what I like about it is, we can really kind of, I can interact better with only a couple of people in chat than I can, than I could if we had like hundreds of comments scrolling by, right? And don't get me wrong, it would be fun to have a lot of people on, but I think for me, right, the sweet spot would really be something like just a dozen people, maybe at the most, right? If you had half a dozen people, you could maintain a pretty interesting conversation, and what I like is that the people that do hop on and comment on streams, a lot of which are local guys that I game with, we have some pretty fun conversations when we're doing all this stuff. So, oh, don't sweat it, man. I totally, coming on here and just chatting about your projects and your hobby. That's really it for, that's, to me, that's the best support you can offer, the commission painting side of things it's, for me, it's a little more of a luxury that I get to do it. It helps me pay the bills. It helps me pay for my own hobby. But it's not, if I were to, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not dependent on it, right? To live my life, to take care of my family, that sort of thing. Right? It's not critical for me. So it is kind of just a fun side hustle that I've got. And then obviously, you know, it affords me opportunities to hop on streams and paint. I get good content out of it, right? Because I always have a steady supply of miniatures and paint projects to come through. And then it also kind of helps my social media presence, like my Instagram and that sort of thing. Because there's, you know, I'll have a steady stream of content there as well, right? Anything more than 20 people, you'd need them. Yeah, for sure. I mean, those are cool. I know, like, when I hop on and I'm watching other streams, um, it's cool to see people doing well, right? That, like, if you hop on someone's stream and they have a lot of people in their chat, and you know they're having fun with that kind of stream, I think that's great, right? As a participant, you're a little more limited in how much interaction you get with the host, and that's the trade-off. But you know, it's nice to see that they're doing well. Me personally, though, like if I'm hopping on somebody else's stream, if that's um, you know, Axe and Axe or Dicey Guy, or you know, or one of the other streams I might watch, it I appreciate kind of being part of a smaller stream as well, because then I'm like, okay, well, I know I can have some fun conversation and interaction directly with um, you know, with Dave or Dicey Guy or any of those guys. Okay, I know this looks like trash right now. I know this looks like trash, but we will get to I will show you how we fix this. Oh, I forgot to do his soft point stuff. We got to do that too. In fact, it makes more sense to get that done first. Some switch colors here real quick. Said casual. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think on these streams, the main thing is, you know, I've been doing this for a while, but I'm still learning quite a bit, right? And my techniques they're not, I wouldn't say there's anything quite remarkable about them. They're just practical, right? A lot of solutions and stuff that I use on stream, and what people learn when they tell me they've learned something is usually like a pragmatic, okay, so you know, when I'm working on a large amount of minis, or when I'm trying to get something done to like a basic standard, here's some things that I've picked up, right? Right. This is not Angel Heraldez. Right. I would never pretend to be someone quite that talented anyway. But you get my point, right? He's there's those professional, I'll call them the more professional type streams, the advanced streams like Angel Heraldez, or a lot of those other kind of, right, the pro circuit painters. And then there's the rest of us mortals here. Which I I bear no shame in admitting, hey, you know, I'm just a dad and a husband and a gamer with a full-time job that likes to play with all painted minis, and this is how I get that done, right? This is how I achieve that. But yeah, here we go. So still. Right, so you can see the hard points of the armor coming down. This guy is quite fun. Every YouTube mini painter has a different technique. Others can. Yeah, for sure. I I can say with certainty that every single, and I mean every single um, YouTube hobby channel for mini painting that I've ever watched, I've learned something from. Even if, you know, despite it, whether or not I may have been painting longer than that person, or, um, you know, maybe my base standard might be considered a little bit higher than that person's standard. But it doesn't matter. You still learn something, I find. You learn something like watching everybody. And you learn what I like about these is like you learn how people approach different scenarios, right? One thing we do as commission painters, when we are, let's say we have a scheme like this and we look at it, we look at the example scheme online and we go, okay, how did they get there? How do we think they get there? And how are we going to get there? Right? Kind of that process of going, okay, I'm going to start with this color and I'm going to work my way that way. I'm going to use these techniques. And this is how I'm going to get to what I think is a representation of what my client wants, right? In this case, you know, I took a single color for blue as an undercoat and just went two different directions for hard, you know, for hard point and soft point. Okay. Okay, let's keep it moving. So now, so we're starting to build that base color. I think what we want to do on the on this blue here, let's do another layer of this teal. Actually, maybe I think I kind of want to brighten it a little bit more. So let's blend a little pastel green into that teal. Right? Right, and this is going to give me more of a sky color. And that's like really light. Kind of want a darker. There we go. I want like a mid-tone color. How many do you have lined up to paint? Right now this is 8. Right, so this is the whole, we'll be working on the entire freeze crew. So, but these kind of base henchmen are very similar in their outfit. So, right, and so we're batching them all together, and then we'll do the polar bears, Killer Frost, and Freeze himself. Those will all be done as part of a different setup. Okay. Right. Okay. So now that teal is starting to show up a little bit more. And I did mix the glaze, a little bit of the glaze medium back into this because this is a softer highlight. Right. So you see how we kind of treat this. We're going to treat this blend a little bit differently. So I have a question for you while I'm doing this kind of monotonous painting. My question is, you have a name, DJ Ghostman. Are you are you a DJ as well? Is that another hobby, or is like DJ stand for, something in your name? Curious. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. I'm thinking like I know you're a little older than me, but I'm thinking like DJ, right? Like the old you're a former club and party DJ. Awesome. So I was right. Okay, cool. That's cool. See, that's a fun hobby. That also seems like that would be super fun too. So you're a dungeon master now, and you were at one point at least you were a party and a club DJ. So you're very accustomed to being a host. How about that? You probably have the um, right, that host presence about you. Hobby now, just mixing with the old new stuff that's out there. Nice. That's cool, man. Like what genre of music did you play the most as a DJ? Right? Would you or I guess I should ask what's your favorite? Right? Because you might have been, I'm sure, you may have had gigs that you had to play stuff that you didn't want to play. Right? You didn't say you were a wedding DJ, right? Wedding DJs, they probably used to playing stuff that they don't like to listen to. Cleveland and Boston area? You talk You live in Massachusetts? Oh, cool. I uh I spent some of my childhood in Connecticut in the 80s. Um, so I'm familiar at least with the New England area. Wedding DJs. I've kind of feel bad for. Um, I mean, it's an honest living, but I know a lot of DJs that did wedding gigs and stuff, and they were like, they're really into their music. Um, they're passionate about the music that they played. Um, okay, so we're gonna let that next section dry. Now, I think we do want to go in with a little more. I think we are going to go in with the verdigris proper for the ice points. Okay, um, so I like, this is the old school verdigris, which is very thick. It's almost like a technical paint, and it's really cool, right? And we're just gonna do, like a light overbrush of this material. If I can find the right type of dry brush for this. I really want a small, Hoping for like, this is okay, but I'm hoping for like a smaller. This is super soft. That might work well. That might work well. Okay, let's try it. So just gonna, I mean, this stuff is super thick. I'll show you what I mean by that, right? It just sits there on top like that, okay? Rock, hip hop, club stuff, techno, 50s to now. Love old funk and hip hop classic, like Pink Floyd. Nice. Um, yeah, I still love my old school hip hop stuff personally. And, you know, when I was in high school, a friend of mine was a DJ, and we played a lot of raves. We played a lot of the underground, uh, not the not the stuff that we're proud of, right? Break into an old warehouse rave stuff. I did some of that in high school, um, but we liked the house music when that was coming in and coming on the scene, and you know, grew up on the golden age 80s and 90s hip hop. Still love that today. Um, right. So still listen to a lot of Tribe Called Quest and Public Enemy. Some of my favorites, EPMD, Gangstar. Love all that stuff. Um, and then for like classic house, you know, we're talking like Two Unlimited, you know, that kind of stuff. Black Box. That was all the stuff. You know, when I was coming out of high school, that was all. That was the kind of stuff that we listened to. You can see the hardpoint stuff coming in, right? Just with that. Ice Cube, yeah. The old NWA stuff was awesome. NWA Eazy-E. It's interesting. You're over in Massachusetts, and you're naming a lot more uh, West Coast rap, and I was naming a lot of East Coast rap out here in California. I always thought the West Coast East Coast thing was really stupid, and actually kind of shameful, right? When it got really bad. Um, but you know, that's that's the time. Still loving the Wu Tang. I always paint every game I play. Always paint one faction, the yellow and black for the Wu Tang. Right. So I have like a Guild Ball team that's a Wu Tang Guild Ball team, and I have a Malifaux crew that's a Wu Tang Malifaux crew. I haven't yet done that with a Batman game yet. The characters they're a little too iconic. I thought about doing that with my Riddler crew. They're a little too iconic. Oh yeah. The rap rival. I don't. Well, honestly, with all the mumble rap stuff, I don't even know what to say about hip hop today. It's just a shame. That's the whole thing is just a shame to me when I think about where hip hop is today. I'm like, um, no, guys. Yeah, I've been listening to lately though. I'll be honest with you. Lately, I've been listening to a lot more just more 80s, um, just 80s classic pop music. Really, more pop side. So I was listening today. I was listening to Men at Work, Hall and Oates. You know that side of things. I guess we'll call it. um, dude, I I will say, like, I remember, and I'm gonna really kind of embarrass myself here for a second, right? So I used to really be into that show Scrubs on TV. Um, that Zach Braff show. I don't know if you're familiar with that show or not, but it was a cool show for the time or whatever. But one of my favorite episodes of Scrubs is when they have a guest appearance from Colin Hay from Men at Work, and he is singing an acoustic version of Overkill in the episode, and I, and at the time, I was watching that with my then girlfriend, who is now my wife. At the time, he starts the episode and he starts singing the song, and I'm like, dude, I know this song, and my wife um, did not listen to Men at Work coming up, so she didn't know the song, she wasn't familiar with it, but I'm like, dude, I know this song. Um, Such a great song, and I couldn't place it for until until like the middle or the end of the episode where he's going full throat into the song, and I'm like, dude, I love this. It was like, this actually was one of my favorite Men at Work songs. So um anyways, listening to a lot of that recently, as well as the 80s R&B stuff, so talking like DeBarge, right? All the DeBarge, Sheila E, all the way up to um, New Edition. So I was listening to like any stuff right now. I don't care if you're millennial or zennial or whatever watching this on playback and like, what the hell are these old guys talk about, man? You just trust us, okay? You could listen at that point in time. You could listen to everything, right? You could listen to all that music. I mean, the other thing I'll point out too, I will point this out as well, because this gets lost too. My son is like, my 8-year-old is like, Dad, you listen to like a lot of like crazy old music, but it's like good, it's really good music, Dad. I'm like, yeah. Um, I put on, uh, shoot, what's the name of that song? I just lost it. Um, Hold on one sec, guys. Well, I put on some Michael McDonald for him, right? And uh, Michael McDonald and shoot, I forget the name of the other artist. Um, oh, Bobby Caldwell. Bobby Caldwell. I put those on for him, for my son, and he's like, oh, these, this is great R&B. And I explained to him like, hey man, these are white dudes singing these songs, and he's like, wait, what? Like, yeah, there's some soulful white dudes, man, singing R&B back in the day, um, which was super cool. And I'll be honest with you, I did not know until about two. Oh, Saved by Zero. Saved by Zero. That's a great song. um, Anyways, I did not know until about 2 years ago. I did not know this until about 2 years ago that Bobby Caldwell was white. I did not know that. And I love that song, right? I love Bobby Caldwell and did not know the dude was white. And this was 2 years ago, and I lost my damn mind. I'm not kidding. I found this out at work. I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, and he did this real short where he's my age, and this is black dude. He's my age, and he just realized Bobby Caldwell was white. So I was freaked out by that. I was like, "Oh snap! Bobby Caldwell is white. What? What is going on? What?" Um, Saved by Zero. Oh, also, if you're gonna talk about like the fix Saved by Zero, like, don't forget Yes, and then later on, some bands like that, In Excess, obviously. Man, there's so many good bands, dude. That, like, seriously, you could pick just about any genre at that point in time, and the music's gonna be good. It's just gonna be good music coming out of that point in history. I don't care how old school you call it, whatever. It's just, man, what a great time to be listening to music, and you could push all that, you could push that all the way up to like the early 2000s, all the way up, man. Like you could follow like Busta Rhymes and his career and be like, man, the man has just been a legend forever, dude. So I don't know. I'm glad I asked you if you were really a DJ, because I love talking about, you know some of the older music, and frankly how much better it was. You know what I'm saying? And I don't say that as just some. I don't say that as a younger guy that just kind of studied it, and like I grew up with that music. I grew up with that music, right? You know, there's just a lot of great songs and great artists, man. So good. Anyway, we're still painting blue. All right. If you're just joining us right now, welcome to the Play Painting Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. We are talking about paint. We're painting blue and talking about dope music from back in the day and what I'm listening to. Right. I put on Spandau Ballet True today because I love the song. Right. No shame in my. I'm just gonna explain it. Just love that song. I don't care. Put it back on. Want to hear it. Listen to Michael McDonald and Doobie Brothers. I don't care, man. That's what I want to listen to. You getting tired? All right, man. I know it's late where you're at. Go to bed, man. I appreciate you coming on and talking. I gotta get we gotta get you on talk old school music, because I love that. Okay, I'm always down for that. And then tell me about your you can tell me too about your D&D, whatever. Like if you've started a new campaign, I'm sure you probably have some stuff planned for the coming year. If you're keeping your D&D group together, how that's going for you. We want to hear about that too. But right now, you got me talking about just good music, which I am happy to talk about because I just like it. Yeah. Word, man. I'm telling you, like, what a time. We are lucky. I will, you and I, we gotta acknowledge that yeah, being a little bit older and growing up with some of those influences, and just growing up in that world, which not a perfect world, much more dangerous in many ways, but like, man, our the stuff we had, music wise, entertainment wise, even the toys and all that stuff that we had, I'm sorry, just flat out better. Just flat out better. I was talking with my mother-in-law's husband, who is, I guess, technically my father-in-law, not exactly, but you got minis to finish. All right, man. I'll keep you up and talking. But we got some couple old guys together, me and him, and watching some football, which I barely watch any football these days, but he watches football. So we were there. It was my mother-in-law's birthday today, so I was there just hanging out with them. And he just asking me questions, like old guy just asking me questions, like, man, what is wrong with these kids today? Right? It was that. We had that conversation. What is wrong with these kids today? And I'm like, man, I remember being a young adult and thinking that we were at the height of everything, right? That like, man, we're as a society, we're getting safer and better, and so many things are getting cooler. We saw the Berlin Wall go down, right? There's all kinds of cool stuff that happened in our day. And we're like, man, it's never going to get better than that. How can society get better, right? And at that time too, the big push for gay rights, and we were like, yeah, you know what? This is ridiculous. Let them get married. Like we're on that side too. We're like, okay, like it's not going to get better than that, right? It's like, well, I think we're conquering everything. We're not there, but all the groundwork is laid, right? We're a society pushing towards, the end of discrimination and individuality. That was the big thing, right? That was the big thing for Gen X. It was you as an individual, you were more important than the color of your skin, or or your sexual preference or anything. You in your name, you were not just a skin color or a sexuality or or a color creed or anything like that. What was important was you as a person. And the more you got to know another individual, the less important those differences would be. That was what we were. That was the what we were raised on. And now it's like the opposite. Right now, it's collectivism. It's like, oh, well, if you're part of this group is oppressed by this group, and and I'm like, this is, guys, like that's the opposite of what what we were. That was the opposite of where we're at. But I don't want to get into too much of that. We just let's see. No one has sleepover. Hey, what's up, Canvas? No one has sleepovers anymore. We did all that all the time. Rode our bikes. Any activity involved a high potential for injury was held. That's right. It's crazy too. You see these movies. You see like Stranger Things, or you see those where kids are riding. They ride around the neighborhood in their bikes, and their parents just let them go. We're like, oh, okay, see you later, kitty, Jimmy, or whatever, and we'd be gone the whole day, right? You would be gone the entire day. But you just had that autonomy. And I'm not saying it's better, right? We didn't realize back then. We didn't realize back then the potential for, horrible stuff to happen. And, and let's face it, those of us here in the chat that are talking about this, well, I mean, we're fortunate that worse stuff did not happen to us, that we made it into adulthood fairly intact. And as parents now, I would say I'm a lot more of a wuss now, thinking about what could happen to my kids than when I was a kid and what we used to do. We were in an old neighborhood of mine where it used to be all orange groves. And when we were in high school, we used to just go into those orange groves at night, like a bunch of psychos. We would just go in there at night, just like chill in those places. And like, we just didn't care. Like, like there could have been people stashing bodies in there, stabbing people or whatever. And yeah, we saw some of that in our day. And I'm not proud of that. I'm not bragging about that at all. I'm saying like we did some kind of foolish stuff, but there's also another point to that too, right? That we were risk takers, and that we, I'm not saying we were right, but we lived in a world where it was like, okay, you can like do this, and buyer beware, and be aware of what could go wrong, and things could go wrong, and I think that made us a little bit wiser and tougher adults. Those of us who weren't getting hit over the head by all metal Tonka trucks and having hands blown off by fireworks that were sold to us, shooting each other's eyes out with BB guns, right? This is just stuff that we were all exposed to as kids that could have potentially gone the wrong way. Hey, what's up, Nelson? Everybody chill. Right? I mean, like these days, my kid, my 8-year-old, my 8-year-old has a smartwatch. Okay, like I let him go and run and play in the neighborhood. He plays with the other neighborhood kids and whatnot. But my 8-year-old, yeah, he's got a smartwatch. Something goes wrong, he can call me. He can hit a button. He can press a button on his phone, and it will ring me directly, right? And I have it set to where that number can interrupt the silent mode on my phone. So even if I'm at work, even if I'm in the middle of a meeting and something goes wrong, he can still get to me, right? Think about that in this day and age. Like we could do that for our kids. Man, in our day, if something went wrong when we were playing outside in the neighborhood, you just good luck, man. That was that's how that worked. Good luck. That's all you could say. Uh, but you know, for what it's worth though, like I'm really glad that we had that. We had all this cool stuff growing up. We lived in a more dangerous world, but it taught us to, I don't know, I guess just be a little bit wiser and and appreciate autonomy. One thing I'll say is I don't I really do think that a lot more people these days than we would like to admit would just rather have the illusion of safety than face any real consequences or you know or assert any autonomy. And to us that just sounds crazy, right? We're like, why would you want to give that up, right? Why do you want people to make decisions for you? Yeah, of course it's more dangerous assuming the responsibility yourself, but that's called being an adult. That's called being a free thinking living human being, right? So this concept of, oh well, don't worry about it, you don't have to think about it, we'll just keep you safe. That's like that's just very foreign to folks from our age group. Like, no, what do you mean? No, you don't get to just take that away and say it's for my safety. We want the ability to fall on our face, right? To hurt ourselves if we go out and if we're learning how to ride a bike or skateboard or snowboard or anything like that, right? Teaching my kid how to ride a bike, and that's one of the things is, you know, you can let him fall. You can let him fall as long as you like. It's not like I'm not gonna like drag him out to a parking lot full of broken glass and let him fall, if you know what I mean. But we're gonna let him fall. He can ride, right? And you teach him like, okay, if you feel like you're gonna fall, here's how you fall. It's one of the first things you need to learn is how to properly fall down. But it's like the attitude around it isn't even, it's not even that anymore. It's just like, oh no, you don't even get on the bike. It's too dangerous. Here, let's just engineer a safer way to do this, right? We'll put you on a little motorized scooter thing, and you can just deal with it that way, which actually is a little more dangerous, but maybe my point is not. But that's all I'm saying is that we had the ability to fail. We had the ability to fall on our face and and get a little bit hurt and learn those lessons. But yeah, I've really been on a kick watching, like listening to older music and watching older movies. You know, last night we were trying to find one of my favorite movies of all time. Hey, what's up, Jason? Um, One of my favorite movies of all time. We're trying to watch it the other night. It's called Better Off Dead. Right? It's a movie with starring John Cusack. One of my favorite movies of all time. Classic 80s, teen, depressed teenager movie, right? Um, and we were gonna watch it, but they don't have. It's not on Amazon Prime, and it's not on Netflix. It's not on Hulu. You can't find it anywhere. And I think from doing a little research, I have reason to believe that it was removed from a lot of these platforms because it it pokes light at, it's poking fun at a little bit of fun at the teenage suicide, right? Which is a very serious thing. I get that. Um, my concern is that while yes, that's sort of true, it's also a really good story, and it's kind of a story of triumph and overcoming that, and it's also freaking hilarious if you've ever seen that movie before. Um, and so I was really kind of sad, and so even to the point where like I ran into Jose a little earlier today, and I said, because Jose's usually the guy that just finds me whatever movies I want to watch, right? If I'm going on a business trip or anything like that, um, I'll ask him to help me find a movie. And he has this like database, and I had him check. I'm like, dude, I cannot find Better Off Dead anywhere. Can you help me find Better Off Dead? And he couldn't find it. He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, did they just scrub that movie? Is that why? Like, did they, because of the subject is a little taboo? I need to find it. If you guys ever find it on a streaming platform or anything, please let me know, because I'm desperate to watch it again. It's one of my favorite movies. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry your mom's face blew up, Ricky. I I like it when the Simone, the foreign exchange student, is talking about Ricky just to put his testicles all over me. And Lane has to correct her. Tentacles. NT tentacles. Oh, how you say? Octopus? Testicles? That movie is awesome. And uh, the two Japanese guys that learned English by watching Wide World of Sports with Howard Cosell. So they only speak like Howard Cosell, and they try to race him every time they go to a light. We watched some of like the Paperboy highlights on YouTube, because that's like all you can find. All you can find is like highlights of this movie. But yeah, for those of you guys who have never watched or have never seen it, if you get the chance to watch Better Off Dead with John Cusack, watch the movie. I promise you, you will love that movie. That movie is so good. Uh, you need to watch it. It's super funny. Um, yeah. If we were playing the old movie game that we play on Twitch, like I would score like 6 or 7 points for putting that movie on. It's so good. Yeah, Booger. Booger, I mean, we have One Crazy Summer. Well, my wife really likes One Crazy Summer, which is a good movie. It's a fun movie, but I'm a much bigger fan of Better Off Dead. I think Better Off Dead is the superior movie. Um, so we watched last night. We watched The Jerk with Steve Martin, another one of my favorite movies of all time. Classic. Love Steve Martin. Um, but yeah, if you can watch Better Off Dead, or more importantly, if you can find me where you can stream Better Off Dead, please let me know, because that movie is so damn good. It's so good, guys. That's the only way I'll explain it. It's really, really funny, really good movie. Oh man. Just the lady with a power fist running around. All right. So we're still working on the blues here. So now, okay. So like I said, we want to keep, it's harder to see on camera, but this is like a pale blue. We're going to make this look more like ice. We're going to make this look a little more blue-green. Okay? That's the idea. So now we're going to go to our washes and inks, and we're going to differentiate these models that way. So, so what I want to do is I'm going to make like a turquoise wash, and it's going to be very light, very dilute turquoise wash, right? And that's gonna revive the kind of blue-green on the clothing, and then subsequently we'll use a darker blue on the hard points. Yeah, if, like I said, cannot recommend Better Off Dead enough. You need to watch, we need to watch that movie so bad. Man. So yeah, I've been on this like kick where I I've really only been watching just older stuff, older movies, listening to, you know, more classic movies. Stewardess School. I vaguely remember that movie. Stewardess School. Who's in that? Is that the one? That's not the one with Christina Applegate in it, is it? Because I know there's a movie where she goes to her stewardess school, that's a pretty funny movie, and it has Mike Myers in it. I think you're talking about an older movie. There we go. So you see how that's doing a good job, like blending everything and then bringing back that blue green. Oh, in fact, I need a little bit there. I need to do this too. School. What the other movie that was that we were gonna watch? Just One of the Guys. It's a funny movie. I wouldn't put it up there with Better Off Dead. Better Off Dead, still possibly the best 80s sort of high school movie in my opinion. Like I just gotta find it. It's really making me. I'm really upset that I cannot find this. I want my kids to watch it. You know, my son has been watching a lot of these old movies with us. He really likes Three Amigos, which is another fantastic movie. So so he's getting some Steve Martin, uh, classic Steve Martin movies. I would also, oh shoot, not been keeping up. I gotta highlight this guy. In fact, let me do that real quick before we move on too far. I don't want to get on too far. I was looking for an old Steve Martin movie called The Lonely Guy, which is a great movie, one of my favorites as well. Couldn't find that one either. That one probably wasn't banned. It's just more obscure, right? If you're talking about like great Steve Martin movies, The Man with Two Brains, I really liked that movie. Obviously, Three Amigos, I really liked. There's just so many good. I don't know what to say. There's just good Steve Martin movies. Yeah, stewardess school. I don't know. I'm not sure which one you're talking about specifically. The only stewardess school I can recall is the, like I said, the one that had Christina Applegate in it. We watched Spies Like Us the other night too, which is just a great. We've been watching all this stuff. Um, Christmas Vacation. We watched that movie because that's a fantastic movie. Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. Hell yeah, that's a great movie. Man, these are all. We got to break these out for our Wednesday watch parties. Let's just see. Unfortunately, a lot of them aren't on that list, but they're just such good movies. Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, dude. That was a good. Um, how about All of Me? Do you remember that movie? Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin, I think, is in that movie. That's a fantastic movie. Oh yeah, Caddyshack. Those are all classic movies. Now we're getting into like more Bill Murray stuff. Wow, dude, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. That one brings me back, dude. That's a good choice. All right. Okay, let's go back to. I told you we're really just working on blue tonight. We're not going to finish any of these. But once this is done, these models are like 80% done. And they look fantastic. When all said and done on these are going to look really good. The blending on them is really nice. But you can see how I'm kind of using the inks to blend all that work that we did. That was really pretty rough cut, if I'm being honest with you, right? All the highlighting and stuff. That's really rough cut highlighting, just because we're batch painting. All right. New Year's resolution for me. I know you guys are probably gonna boo me over this, but I'm trying to watch. I'm gonna cut down. My New Year's resolution was to cut down on the amount of cussing I do. Right? My son is encouraging me to do that because he's like, Dad, I know you're the adult, but you know, he's asking me on behalf of his little brother, who he hears us dropping f-bombs all the time. He's gonna go to school and drop those at school, and and then we're all gonna be in trouble. So I give my 8-year-old holding me accountable for stuff like, Dad, come on, clean it up. So uh, that is my resolution. I'm not saying I'm gonna quit entirely because I can't. I have to use cuss words. Um, but definitely around my 5-year-old, I will have to very greatly tone that down. Right? These, you can tell, like, these sculpts are fantastic, man. Right? These free sculpts they're excellent. All right. Looks pretty good. Let's get a little bit. Okay. And this dude here. Oh, I'll get her next, actually. So all this is just a little bit of turquoise ink that I've thinned down quite a bit and just kind of treating it like a wash. Nice. Okay. And finally, Mr. Heavy Weapons guy. This is already turning out to be a pretty fun commission. Even though, like I said, right now it's just a giant batch paint. All right, so now we got to get into the hard point stuff, and we need to use a blue ink this time, and to really crack down on that, I have the P3 blue ink, and this. But if I can, and this is one of those rare instances where I would rather have the Vallejo game color blue ink. I don't know if I have one, but let's look around, see if I do. Because the game color blue ink is really good. And because these are inks, oh, hold on, let's see if I can find it first. Otherwise, I am using that ink, which makes me a little sad. Yeah, I may be out of the... game color ink. Hold on, I'm not giving up yet. I found game color black ink. Yeah, okay. I guess we are using... We're going to use the Vallejo. I mean, sorry, the P3. This is still very good ink. It's just, I wish it were a little, just a hair more intense, like the Vallejo game color is. That said, and I want this to be pretty thin, so I'm not gonna thin it with water. I'm gonna thin it with airbrush flow improver to make it super thin. And you really only need 1-2 drops of the most of that, right? So we're gonna get this super thin, and then let's go ahead and start, right? So we're gonna go into the hard points with this. You can see how it's leaving it's leaving the highlights in, but it's filling all the shading of that detail back in, right? It's giving us the illusion that this is more ice-like, right? That these hard points are more ice-like. And I'm a little disappointed in this tone. I wish that tone was a little more intense so that you could really see the difference. The game color, Vallejo game color blue ink is more intense. And this is one of those rare instances where I would actually prefer an ink that is not a P3 ink, because P3 inks are fantastic, right? Piggy Purple or Blazing ink, those are super, super good inks. Armor Wash is super good. Like, that's still pretty good, right? That's still pretty good detail there. Super fun. All right. Anybody else have any fun New Year's resolution? I know mine kind of sucks. but yeah, that is my resolution. I mean, I wish I could make up something cooler. Yeah. Yeah, P3 inks they're generally incredible. And this is actually a really nice blue ink, don't get me wrong. This is just one of those instances where the Vallejo Game Color ink is just a little darker. But you can see we're getting all the detail back in the hard points, which is nice, right? They looked kind of crappy there for a minute while I was painting it. Now it's all coming back. Okay. Right, and if I want, I can always come back and edge highlight again. Hey, what's up, Sean? Are you back? You back from Vegas yet, buddy? Blah. Sorry if I'm doxing you, Sean. If you're still out of town, the good New Year's resolution. Oh, you had 3. That's one. Oh, good. Yeah, I don't mind a potty mouth in general, but because I am a potty mouth, but man, I can't, not around my 5-year-old, right? Can't be doing that around my kid. You know what I'm saying? All right, here you go. But yeah, so this blue's gonna come in pretty nice. Right, hitting it with the inks at the end there is nice. And I can, like I said, if I want to, I can come back in and edge highlight this. Right, make it pop a little bit more. Oh, so you're locked up all week, huh? That sucks, man. I was hoping we could try to get a lunch game or something in this coming week, but it's gonna be a busy week for me too, so maybe it's for the best, right? Your New Year's resolutions painting over 100. Dude, didn't you paint 100 models this past year though? That would be a surprise to me if you've painted fewer than 100 models this past year. Because I feel like you have, man. I don't know. I haven't been keeping track, but it seems like you painted 100 models this past year. That's a pretty cool resolution. At least it's fun. You know, if you can get your... It'd be cool. That's cool. Oh, man. I don't know. It's one risk with these inks. You do not want an ink to pool. That is the death, okay? Inks, super cool, but use caution. Do not let them pool. All right. Okay. All right. Sean feels like you're always painting when, yeah, yeah. I I don't know. I'd be surprised, man, if you painted fewer than 100 models last year. I thought you did. I'm not trying to diminish your resolution, by the way. I'm just saying I thought you did paint that many last year. Especially because I mean last year you painted a Zombicide set. So that right there is like 75 models. And you painted a bunch of MCP. So that's 100 right there. Easy. Right? That's not even counting the GW stuff you painted last year. Right? I mean, that's quick math, dude. But that's, yeah. I'm just saying, pretty sure you did that. It's a good, still a very good resolution. You still want to do that. Here, let's get some highlight. So you did, yeah. So you painted 100 last year, which is good. And you're going to paint at least 100 this year, which is totally doable. I think, I will say this, if you are not painting a board game, might be a little bit harder to get that many models done. But I believe you could do it, man. All you got to do is start another affiliation in MCP and paint a couple of Batman crews. You'll get there. Get back to 100 easy. There you go. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I cannot do anything else to the main parts of these models tonight, because you can't risk this. If you got inks on, do not try painting over inks that have not dried. What will happen? They're still setting up. You might rip off the whole layer. Here's on my IG, and all this gather is really sweet. Why do you feel bad about that? Don't, dude. This is, wait. I was actually talking about this earlier, Nelson. That this commission painting for me this is not what you would call compulsory work. Okay? I do this for fun. And the fact is, painting that amount of models, that number of models and that variety of models is what makes it fun for me to do this. And it gives me stuff like the ability to stream this content and to put stuff on my Instagram and all that kind of stuff. If it ever did become a problem, I will make you this promise, Nelson, and to anybody else. If painting your stuff ever becomes a problem for me, or if it ever starts to interfere with my work-life balance, I will let you know, and I will take a break. Okay, so never feel guilty about that. Even when I've had some really rough batch paints, and stuff that I'll be honest, maybe I didn't want to do. Even then, I know, because of I know with my clients, I know I can just turn around and say, you know what, I'm not going to do it this time. I can't. I can do that, and I'm comfortable doing that, and I'm very lucky because I know other commission painters, they're a little more, what's the word am I looking for? They're a little more beholden to their clients. Like they have to do it because they need the money, or because some other reason. Like they just have to do it and they don't want to do it. I've seen other commission painters operate that way, and it kills them, right? It's the reason why they quit commission painting, because they go down some corner of painting that they don't want to go down, and it backfires miserably, and they end up not wanting to continue. And just so you know, that has never, knock on wood, that has yet to happen to me. So if it does happen, I will, trust me, my family is way more important. Spending time with my kids and all that stuff, way more important than painting my little war guys. But if it does happen, I will I will let everyone know. I'll say, hey, look, I'm not going to do it this time. Like, and like I've asked a couple of times over the years, I've said, hey, I'm not going to take commissions for a week or two, because I want I want to catch up on my own stuff, or or I've got a really busy work week or something else, right? And everybody's been super cool about it. Like, okay, yeah, no worries, right? Because usually I can turn around stuff so quick that it's like, okay, they're like, it's fine. It's a blessing typically. But when I do need time off, I usually say that. Now, we bring it up as we're talking about this. I think I've mentioned this to a bunch of people more recently, that my travel schedule this year for work is expected to be a little bit more intense than it has been in previous years. So that does mean that commissions will take a little bit longer to complete. So just be aware of that. I'm not stopping. If my work schedule ends up being too crazy to continue, like I said, I'll tell everybody, look, I can't do it. But we'll just see how the year goes. Anyways, while these are drying, we're not touching them anymore, I figured I'll show you the rest of this commission, which is really cool. The rest of the freeze crew, which I think is super cool, right? So first up are the polar bears, which are awesome, right? So you got a standing polar bear here, and then you've got like you got the polar bear with the cannon on its back, and the baby polar bear loading the snowballs into. Like, that is amazing, right? Then you got I'm going to show you Freeze. So here's Freeze. So what's cool about this is he's one of those minis that comes on a 40, and then he's like the Ra's al Ghul one, where you can slide him in and out of the larger, right? You can slide him into a 60 if you want to run that version, or you can run him just on a 40. He does come with this little clear plastic cover or helmet, not really helmet, but it's a cover to where, you can, after you're done painting him, you just stick that on, and you got a cool Freeze model. So you got that. And then this is my favorite model of the whole set by far, is the Killer Frost. This model is amazing, right? That is amazing. So this is what I'm most looking forward to painting. But once we get past this giant batch paint of all this stuff, painting the rest of this stuff is like just gravy, right? This is another cool thing about commission painting. If you know how to pace out a project, you won't kill yourself doing it, right? I mean, I've only had these models for a couple of days, and we're doing a pretty good job so far getting on those. So yeah, I mean, this crew is awesome, and I hope Chris fields this when he goes to LVO, because it looks cool, and I hope he does well with it. I hope I don't run into him, because his crew has a lot of good Riddler, anti-Riddler tech, and I actually, I feel like these are gonna look way cooler than my Riddler crew. So I'm hoping he does put them on the board because I think they do, to my opinion, they do look cooler than my Riddler crew. My Riddler crew, I painted those a little too fast. I probably should go back and touch those up a bit. But anyways, yeah, we're at a standstill. I'm not really gonna pick up and paint any of the rest of this commission tonight. We're just gonna let all those inks dry, and then but you can see like really the stuff that's left is gonna be pretty simple and straightforward. There's some I'm gonna come back in, do a little bit of line highlighting around the hard points, and then there's that secondary kind of brownish color for the fur and for the pants and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, right, there's the border of the jackets, which are kind of like a bone color. But these are gonna look awesome, man. These are gonna look super nice when they're done. I think it's a really fun crew. I love painting the ice aesthetic. So like my Rasputina crew was super fun to paint. I think these sculpts are better, if I'm being honest with you. These are probably some of the best sculpts in the Batman miniature game, in my opinion. I think these are some of the best sculpts I've seen. Especially, like that is just awesome. That is like, I don't mind if I spend more time on her than the rest of the crew combined, because that is an awesome miniature. Right, so anyways, I think folks, we're gonna call it here. I'm gonna go to bed because I gotta go to work tomorrow, which sucks. But hit me up if anyone wants to meet up for lunch or anything tomorrow. Let me know, or a lunch game or something like that. I should be around to do that. So anyways, that is gonna do it for this stream. Want to thank everyone for watching. Have a good night, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.